Welcome to the notes for Chapter 8. So to get us started, we're going to do this warm-up. So you're going to copy all of these pictures down into your notebook. I can already see the eyes rolling. It's okay. Copy them down. Pause the video. And find the perimeter of each of the polygons. So remember, perimeter is you're just going to add up all the sides. It's pretty easy. And remember, a polygon is multi-sided. Anything 3 or more sides. So go ahead and give me the perimeter of each of these 6 polygons. When you're ready, you should see a text box on the right. Put your answers in the text box. Okay, so we should see some answers. So I don't know where they are. My computer's a little slow, I guess. There we are. All right, so here are your answers. Check your answers with my answers, so you might need to pause the video. Okay, so we're going to do Chapter 8, Circles and Area. You're going to need a calculator for this chapter, so pause the video if you need to go get a calculator. Copy all this down into your notebook. Okay, so when we're talking about things with circles, we need to know what pi is. So you can use the symbol for pi, or you can write pi for pi. It's not P-I-E. It's a little different. So a gentleman named Archimedes discovered that in any circle, the ratio of circumference to diameter is always the same, pi. And if we would have had a pi day, we would have seen this. So the ratio of circumference to diameter equals pi. So copy all this down into your notebook, especially the diagram. So when I'm using these terms like circumference, you know that that's the distance around the circle. Diameter is from side to side. And radius is just from the center out to one side. So copy that down into your notebook so you have that in your notes. Okay, so you should have those terms in your notes. So you should have, what's a circle? Let's find out what is a circle. Circle is the set of all points in a plane that are the same distance from a point in the middle called the center. So write that down so we have the definition of a circle. If you need to pause the video, pause the video. And the radius is the distance from the center to any point on the circle. And diameter is the distance across the circle through the center. Make sure you understand that it's through the center. If you need to pause the video, pause the video. Okay, we're going to do some work with circles. So circles and formulas. So some other things you need to know, that the diameter is twice the radius. Kind of makes sense. So D equals 2R. D equals 2R. There we go. My computer's a little slow. What else do we need to know? Well, it's kind of the opposite. The radius is 1/2 the diameter. So just write these in your notes so you have them as reference. Okay, so R equals 1/2 of D. Okay, we're going to do an example. We're going to find the radius and the diameter. Okay. The diameter of a circle is 4 yards. What is the radius? So pause the video. Write this in your notebook. Okay, so what are we going to do? So we're going to use the formula radius equals 1/2 D. You're just going to plug in what you know. So you know diameter was 4 yards. Radius is 1/2 of that. So your answer is 2 yards. Please don't forget to add some units. No naked numbers, please. So have this all in your notebook. All right, part B. The radius of a circle is 15 millimeters. What is the diameter? So we might use our other formula for that one. Diameter equals 2 times radius. So just plug in what you know. And you know that the diameter is 30 millimeters. Again, don't forget units, no naked numbers. If you need to pause the video to write this down, pause the video. Okay, you're going to do 2 on your own. Please copy these down into your notebook. Do the math, and then you should see a text box on the right to put your answers in the text box. Okay, check your answer with my answer. So maybe my answers are wrong. You never know. They shouldn't be, though. So check your answers. And once you're done, move on. Okay, now we're going to work with a circumference. So you need to know the circumference is the distance around the circle, completely around it. Okay, and write this all in your notebook. And we know the circumference divided by that diameter, a little spelling error there, equals pi. So pi equals all the way around the circumference divided by the diameter. No matter what, it's always going to be pi. So for pi, we're going to say it's 3.14 or 22/7, depending on if we have numbers or fractions. We're going to use the different forms of the same number. Okay, so circumference equals pi d or circumference equals 2 pi r. They're both the same because remember, diameter is 2 of your radiuses. So write this in your notebook. If you need to pause the video, pause the video. If you have a question, write that down on the side. And when we do our Zoom session tomorrow, you can ask those questions. Okay, I want to find the circumference of my two circles. I'm going to find the circumference of a bubble with a radius of 8. And I want to use 3.14 for pi. So I'm going to write down my equation. So again, you're going to need to memorize your equations. C equals 2 pi r. C equals 2 pi r. Computer's a little slow. Plug in what you know. And throw that into your handy dandy calculator. So on this first one, I got to answer 50.24. Oh, no naked numbers. So it's going to be centimeters. Okay, now copy down B. Find the circumference of the clock face with a diameter of 21 inches. So we could use circumference equals pi d. Okay, here's your diameter. So circumference equals 22/7 times 21. I can cross cancel my 7 and my 21. I get 3. So my circumference should be 66 inches. Okay, so make sure that's all in your notebook. Okay, write these 3 down in your notebook. Actually draw the pictures. So notice you have some diameter and some radius, and you're going to find the circumference of each of these, and you're going to put your answer in the text box on the right. So pause the video, do the math, go to the text box. Check your answer with my answers. Make sure my answers are correct. Make sure your answers are correct. If you have a question, write that down on the side, and we can go over those tomorrow during our Zoom session. Okay, here we have another one. We're going to estimate the diameter. So they're telling us their circumference is 3.14. Never mind. The circumference of the roll of caution tape, the circumference was 31.4. It decreases 7.5 inches after construction of a building. Estimate the diameter of the roll after this decrease. So copy this into your notes. Okay, we're going to do the math. Okay, after construction, the roll is, you've just decreased their circumference. Okay, so now we know what the circumference is. Now we want to know what the diameter is. And so remember, this is maybe a little confusing. So circumference equals pi d. And now how can I solve for d? I'm going to divide both sides by 3.14. And, I can estimate it to be about 3. And then I can divide 24 by 3 and get about 8 inches. So I'm just estimating. I'm not doing it perfectly. Okay, now you're going to do one on your own, just like we just did. So Here's your circumference. The roll decreased by that many inches. Okay, so take what you started with, subtract what you took away, and now you want to estimate the diameter of your roll of caution tape. So you should see a text box on the right. Put your answer in there. Okay, so here are my steps for solving, and I got about 9 inches. So remember estimating. You can use your calculator probably to get a more specific answer. Okay, another example. Sorry, my computer's a little slow. Another example. It's coming. It's coming. I know it is. Okay, finding the perimeter of a semicircular region. So copy this down into your notebook, copy down the picture, and make sure you put that radius equals 5 yards. It's not the diameter, it's the radius. So a semicircle, as you can see, is half of a circle. So circumference equals... Okay, so copy all that down into your notebook. So we only want half of our circle. So we're going to take half of 2 pi, and our radius was 5. Throw that all into your calculator, and you get 15.7 yards for the circumference of half of your circle. But don't forget about the bottom. So at the bottom part, so the perimeter is 25.7 yards. So make sure that's all in your notebook. Again, if you have a question, write that down on the side, and we can look at that tomorrow during our Zoom. Okay, you're probably going to try one on your own. Sweet Nelly, you got 3 to try on your own. So write these down in your notebook, copy down the pictures, do the math. You should see a text box on the right. Okay, check your answers with my answers. Make sure we're all correct. Don't forget about the bottom piece. Oh, we're done with our notes. Okay, so that's all you need to do for today. And then tomorrow we're going to do some practice problems. So again, if you have questions, write those down in your notebook so we can go over those tomorrow during our Zoom lesson. See you all tomorrow.